can feel it coming through the air. I can feel it coming through the air. I can feel it coming through the air.
Maria had a date and couldn't let him wait. So in a little while, she waited until the lights were low.
Since you left, I said and thought. Through the air, I can feel it come through the air. 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 I can feel it come through the air.
The way I write songs, I don't really sit down to write something. Usually I have an idea and it's usually when I'm busy and I'm doing something else. So I will either see something, an interaction, a dog, a tree or something that will spark an idea or a melody, and then I will put on my voice notes. And whenever I go back home and I have some time, I will kind of lay these ideas and try and build on them. So whether that could be a movie scenario or a book story or something that I've heard, sometimes just a cup of coffee is enough to just get me in the mood of writing something about something cozy and warm, and usually something sparks it. And it's never when I'm trying to be creative, it's always when I'm not trying to be creative. And I think that's also why it comes to me. And then I kind of find the space and the time to elaborate on the idea. If I'm on the go, it's usually melodies, and maybe they are followed by a lyric. And it's mostly voice memos. And sometimes I even give directions to myself. So I might have an idea and I don't know how to take it forward, but I say to myself, oh, I really imagine this with an EDM drum track, or I imagine this with a very fat bass. So I just also give directions to myself. So when I then come back to the creative process, I know how it felt like in that moment, and then I try to recreate that and see if it works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The ability to multi-track on the go for me would be super helpful, because usually many times I don't just have one idea, I just have an idea when it comes to harmony or polyphony. So I want to overlay something on top of the melody that I just created. Or sometimes I don't just get the melody, but I get the bass line with it, and I get maybe a wind instrument melody on top of it. So counter melodies. So I will have a melody that maybe has some harmonies and then a counter melody on it. So it's quite hard when I have just one track to work with, so just my voice memos, to do that, because then I need to make different voice memos and kind of remind myself this is here and this would be here and this. It just gets quite messy. But if I have something that already has multi-tracks, then I can instantly just write down the idea on Songzap, which that's how I've used it recently. I get the idea, I have it down, I can instantly do harmonies, and then I can instantly do any other instruments that I can think of that come naturally to me at the moment. Looping is something I've been interested for a while now, and I've started doing a lot. And it's a tool to help me figure out those ideas. Looping one idea is just so helpful because I don't have to keep reminding it to myself when I'm trying to figure it out. I just loop the one idea, it keeps being on loop, and then I can build on it. And I can fuck up, I can delete the last loop, I can do whatever, but it's so helpful to have a loop on the go, because I can instantly create the ideas that I want. I can try things out instantly, and it just helps this process be more raw. Looping has really been a massive thing that I use to create, because it just puts me in that space already. It's almost like when I write a loop down and I'm trying to think of other things, all the cogs in my brain, I can feel them working hard and being very receptive and very raw. And there is no not judgment. I'm jamming with myself. So I am creating the bass line, for example. The bass line keeps looping, so then I can start working on other ideas on top of it. Maybe I will add a drum track just to keep a groove. And then on top of that, I can just build and build and build so quickly, because the tracks are there. The tracks are helping me. It's not just one linear thing. It's something that's stackable, And it's just so easy to create like that. It's like you have the musicians next to you, and you are the musicians, so you don't have to deal with people just trying things out that you don't want them to try out. Sometimes I have this thing, I'm like, shut up, just play what I told you to play, so then I can do my thing. There, I just do it myself. Yeah. When it comes to collaboration, what I always try to do is create the initial product as close to what I want as possible. Because obviously I am mostly a vocalist, so there's a limit to how well I can play the other instruments. But I always can figure out quite a close thing when it comes to the aesthetic that I want or to the quality of the tone of the instrument that I want. So I do the best that I can by myself, and then I bring it on to a producer or to my band, and then then I try to explain, this is how I want it, this is the idea. Very funny example with you is, I told you I want a fart synth sound, like a dirty electronic fart sound, and then we just figured it out. So it's like I have the idea and the vision, but many times I don't have the skills, so it's just trying to get it as close to what I want as possible. I always like to be in control mostly, but then there's always a limit of what I can do, and that's where I kind of allow these people to come in the project and give their 2 cents, so then we can create something that is amazing. With my looper, how I work, which is quite interesting, is that I just sing all the instruments. So I will sing the bass line, and then I'll find a sound on the looper that sounds like a bass. I will probably go a few octaves down, so pitch everything down, find something that sounds like a bass or a synth, and I take the synth sound super low, and I literally sing the melody that the bass would sing. Vocally, I will always add some effects when it comes to reverb or delays and things like that I really like to play with to create the sonic world that I'm trying to create at the moment. The looper has helped me a lot to be more technical with this stuff, because on a DAW, even though I know how to work a DAW, sometimes it can get a bit, there's too many things, there's too many options. And with the looper, there's a certain amount of effects that you can use. And what I liked with Songzap as well is that there are a few things like reverb that you can add instantly there. I wouldn't sing the parts, but there's already a drummer, and that is super helpful, because sometimes as well I might have an idea, right? A melody, and I might have a bass melody as well. But when it comes to drums, I'm not really knowledgeable. So Songzap has actually been so amazing, because sometimes I know what I want from a drum and I can just play it. But many times I don't know what I want. So there's so many options of grooves that I can just try, and every single one gives a different vibe, and then I'm like, oh, I like this one. Oh, I like this one. I might have an idea, but with drums, it's just so hard to translate it for me. If it's any other instrument that's melodic, I can translate it much easier, but with drums, it's hard to put it into words. So the virtual drummer always gives me so many options. You can literally pick like a different snare, a different kick, a different tom, and you can just play around not only with the rhythmical aspect of it, but also with the sounds of it, which is very helpful, because then I can go to my drummer and be like, this is sonically what I want from the drums, and also rhythmically. So now that I've created a part of the song, maybe a chorus, now that I've created it vertically and it's time to start creating horizontally, I basically just create many vertical aspects, and then I put them next to each other, and I try to figure out ways to connect everything. So that's how I usually structure songs if I'm doing them on my looper. If I'm just writing and just figuring out the ideas on a notebook, or it might just be with the guitar or the keys, and then the looper helps me kind of figure out all of the instrument and all of the arrangement that I want to have throughout the song. And it also helps me sonically, because it has many effects to work with. So not only I'm figuring out the instruments and the different sections, but I can instantly, without even being in a DAW, sonically do things. In order to sit down on my looper to create those things, something has happened beforehand. And usually it is having, for example, Songzap on my phone on the go when I have the initial idea. Many times you're just like literally walking. Usually what I do is I walk or I cycle and I get an idea. And obviously, if I'm on the bicycle, I'm not gonna pick out my phone and start singing, but I might stop, take my phone out, very safety. It's all about safety. Getting my phone out, getting the idea down, putting it back on my phone, keep walking or keep cycling. Maybe something else comes up, I get the phone out again. But if I'm just walking, then it's super helpful because I take the song out, I create the loop instantly. I create the loop with the harmonies. So sometimes it's just vocal. It's just a vocal line with 3-4 harmonies that come. Or sometimes it just could be the vocal line and the bass line and maybe a counter melody. Now, having the looper on the go is super helpful because when the idea comes in, I put it down when I'm walking. But then what's super interesting is that if I get in the train, I can just open the app and instantly start tweaking things and maybe trying out a drum that could work with it. That way, when the idea is fresh, I don't have to leave it until I go back home. I can instantly start working on it while I'm on the train or while I'm doing whatever. And then I have a very good baseline, a good foundation for them to take that and translate it into my actual looper when I go home, because now the ideas are there. I just need to work on it sonically. I just need to create an actual structure for it. But it's super helpful when you get the idea instantly. And many times I've been disappointed because I was like, I got the voice memos, but all I can do now in the train is listen to them back and maybe try and figure out more ideas. But with the app, I can just instantly start working on it and create more things and figure out any other things that I would like to do. Maybe some pads, maybe the drums. And it's also super fast because it's not like a DAW. With a DAW, if I have my laptop, which I've done it before, and it's not really helpful. I get my laptop out and it's just so hard trying to go and figure out what reverb you want and just try figure out things sonically or get the Logic drummer or whatever. It's just too much work for something that I won't have as much progress as I want within the time that I want because it's too much work. But with the app, it's just so simplified. I can instantly do the work that I would do with a DAW within 5-10 minutes. It's super, super easy, like almost ridiculously easy, especially compared to a DAW. And you just get all the ideas straight down and you can just create the structure straight down, and it's just super helpful. I've released one radio edit of a single. The single that's already out is called Exercise, and it's about releasing bad energy and having fun. Beholder is a song that's going to be released as well super soon, and it all started with a period in my life where I actually felt very good, which doesn't happen that often. I felt like I was really acing the fact that I can look at the bright side. I was acing the fact that I can find the beauty in the darkness. And I kind of had this realization that everything is about your focus. Where do you focus your energy? Where do you focus your attention to? And yeah, beauty is in the eye of the beholder is a phrase that I had heard in the past, but not really that often. And within that realization and writing down some things, that came up. And then I was like, this would be a cool song. And then also it's quite a loopable phrase. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye. So it just kind of started being a thing. And the whole song idea is based on a vocal loop. So I created the vocal loop with the harmonies, and then on top of that, the rest came, like the bass line and the drums, and we've got some qanun as well, which is a Middle Eastern type of laid down harp instrument, which is beautiful. So that song, I would say, is the most vocal loop based song that I have so far. Having Exercise out and now having Beholder coming out soon as well, within the process of having my EP out called Rhombus, it's quite exciting because within this journey, I'm actually, the next thing I'm doing is opening up for a Greek artist that I really, really like here in London in October, Marina Sati, and she's been an inspiration as well because she's also an artist that focuses a lot on traditional music, and that's something that is very, very close and dear to me as well. So super excited to open up for her. And then in November, I have my single release gig as well, which it's going to be a party of releasing Beholder. So I'm very excited about that. Just right now, I'm just focusing and enjoying the process of finishing up these songs that have been in my laptop for so long, and excited to share them with the world, see what the world thinks, and hopefully they can rock with them, cry with them, and just feel them. And then hopefully the next chapter will come, which is writing songs. I've already started writing a few more new tracks. So it's an ongoing journey. It never stops. But for now, Theanò is happy to just finish this and share it with the world.